Well, China's always had a lot of talent and a lot of opportunity. I would say that there's probably 3 to 4 big changes that I've seen. One is that there's been a huge increase in entrepreneurship. More and more people want to go out and start their own business. Secondly, you've clearly seen Chinese companies move from being Me Too innovators to leading innovators. Oftentimes, things that happen first in China are then copied around the rest of the world. Thirdly, you now see a lot more venture capital and a lot more, shall we say, capital available and money available to people in the technology industry where 10 to 15 years ago it was more challenging. At the same time, I would say that 10 to 15 years ago, the technology industry in China was more freewheeling, sort of less restrained. People are sort of doing everything that they want. Frankly, the regulatory environment has got a lot more stricter in the last few years, so things are more restrained. The lanes are more narrow for innovation now. There's no country in the world, not the United States, not Korea, not Japan, not anywhere that today is independent in that field. If you take a look at the advanced semiconductor inside your phone, it is a combination of trillions of man-years of R&D, and actually the physical product probably includes 700 different basic inputs from over 60 different countries. All of those processes, all of that R&D engineered and finely tuned for one output, which is this amazing device you hold in the palm of your hand. It's impossible for anyone to create a new and separate value chain just in one country that can do the exact same thing, no matter how much money that is spent. However, at the same time, I'm actually very optimistic for China's efforts around core technologies. Let's talk about semiconductors and other things. There's a lot of money and a lot of talent going in, and clearly China will be a lot more powerful and have a lot more great companies in this space in the future. But I don't think that's about self-reliance. I think that's about moving China up into a stronger place in the world, so when everyone sits down and works out the rules of how this industry works, China will have a larger voice. Of course, there's always great companies, right? And so there's always companies that are exception to the rules. But I think that there's basically 3 ways that I would think about it. Do these companies have truly global operations in terms of leadership, R&D, manufacturing, marketing, business units held overseas? There's almost no Chinese companies, a tiny, tiny smattering of them, that are actually run that way today. The second thing is, how diverse is the senior management of these companies? I think there was a Harvard Business Review article that said that 99% of the senior leadership of the top Chinese companies holds Chinese passports. Whereas if you go to a top American company, it'll be less than 80%. If you go to a top Swiss company, it'll be less than 50%. So it's around, what is the makeup, and does the makeup of your leadership match the customers to whom you're trying to sell? And then finally, I just think that this is all about adopting a mindset of being a truly global, of course you have your Chinese roots, but of truly going global and saying, we have to be global from the very beginning so we can always operate that way. And I think that actually people truly understand this in China. I think that there are very smart government leaders and entrepreneurs who want to make this happen, but it's just hard to do. It's a learning process.